YouTube, we are doing a mid-round recap, if you will. We are in a weather delay for the 125th U.S. Open, so figured let's spend this time to chat about what we saw during this final round. Just gonna get the stream up and out to social media, change the settings so we can have the chat going. Not often do we get a weather delay stream, but here we are. Expect the unexpected when it comes to the U.S. Open. And, well, we've got ourselves some weather. I have the broadcast on to my left, so if you're wondering why is he looking over to the left so consistently, that is why. Just making sure that I'm missing nothing. Right now, they're showing a rerun of the 2008 U.S. Open. Pretty good one there with Tiger at Torrey Pines. But let's talk a little bit about what we saw today. Again, in the middle of a weather delay. So I figured, hey, let's talk a little bit about what we've seen thus far and maybe what will we see coming down the stretch. So Sam Burns right now 2 over for the day. He's sitting at 2 under. Adam Scott is at 1 under. He's in second place, also at 2 over for the day. Tyrrell Hatton has been battling. He's at even par. He sits tied for third with Viktor Hovland at 1 over. Hovland is 2 over for the day. Hatton even. And then Carlos Ortiz and JJ Spawn are at 2 over par. It has been, JJ Spawn, not really to his fault. He had gone 5 over. He started off with 5 bogeys on his first 6 holes, but just some bad luck, and that's kind of how these U.S. Opens go. Carlos Ortiz is at 2 over as well, a pair of bogeys for him sitting at T5. Robert McIntyre, he is 7th at 3 over, even par for the day. Jon Rahm, who finished what seems like on Friday afternoon, he wrapped up with a 67. He's in the house at 4 over. Wouldn't be surprising if he ends up backdoor top 5. Looks like it's on mute. Let me see if I can make sure we've got the audio working properly. Thought we had that. Just double check and make sure that's not on mute on your end as well. Looks like okay, it's on mute. Let me see if I can. I've got mine. So Veronica, I know you're tuning in and you joined the chat, said it's on mute. I've got it going on mine. I just heard it through the stream, so just double check your audio there. But anyway, let's keep on rolling through here. But Jon Rahm, 4 over par. He shot 67 today, and like I said, it's very possible that he ends up backdoor top 5. When it's all said and done today. Emiliano Grillo at 4 over. He's on the 14th hole. Cam Young, T8, also at 4 over. Scotty Scheffler losing 1.77 strokes putting, and he probably, this is going to be one that he will regret, certainly. He's had the looks, bad 3-putt on 11, a double on 3, but he's had the chances, just hasn't been able to put himself, he just hasn't been able to make any birdies other than on 4 and 6. I mean, he's done a great job hitting greens of regulation. He's hit 9 of 11 greens, but it looks like this won't be the week for Scotty Scheffler to get closer to the career Grand Slam. All right, so Sam Burns right now leading, and boy, it has been a little bit of a struggle out there for Burns, losing almost 3/4 of a stroke putting, and it seems like it's nervy out there. A lot of nerves, a lot of people that are a lot of players are pretty anxious, and you're just kind of wondering who's going to rise up and hit the shots necessary coming down the stretch. Will it be Burns, who, like I said yesterday in our third round recap, the fact that he's playing with the lead, it has afforded him to have a couple of bogeys and make a couple of mistakes, especially when the rest of the field is dropping like flies. You've got Adam Scott. It's kind of match play in the final pairing. But Viktor Hovland, a little surprising that he's at 2 over, although he still seems to be struggling with the driver. Tyrrell Hatton is kind of, ironically, he's playing very steady golf, and there's an opportunity for Tyrrell Hatton to sneak in there. Perhaps 70 is good enough, and one over, I should say, wins him the championship or at least puts him in a playoff. I still think you got to get under par to win it outright, but who knows? Maybe 1 over puts him in a playoff. Carlos Ortiz, I still don't know if he's going to be contending for this championship or not. And then JJ Spaun, it's crazy that he's sitting at 5 over through 8 holes, and he still has a legit chance. It seems like if he can rattle off a birdie somewhere over the next 2 or 3 holes, it could be there for him to perhaps make a wild comeback. And let's take a look at some of the hole by hole stats. The back 9 is there. It's gettable for some of these players. Right now, the back 9 is playing just 1.22 over. The front 9 is playing a little over 2 over par. Overall, the course is at 3.34 over. 11's playing under par. 13's playing under par. 14 under par. 17 under par. Now, granted, 9 and 15 and 18 are all playing half a stroke over par or harder, but there's a lot of birdie holes there. And if someone can go really low, like I was thinking, if Scotty could have shot 30 on the back 9, that could win it, or perhaps put him in a playoff. He now seems a little too far back, although, I mean, he's coming up to the scoreable holes, and it's you can't count out Scotty, because you know that he can just get on this run, and maybe this weather delay is exactly what someone like JJ Spaun needs, where they can hit the reset button and just say, okay, everything happened in the past. I get this great opportunity to recalibrate, refocus, relock it in. Maybe you find something, you're perhaps doing some visualization, and whatever it is, whatever one of these players can figure out, it's going to benefit someone greatly, and it's going to absolutely crumble someone's confidence as well, because they're going to be wishing that this championship could just keep going on and they wouldn't want this stop. Whereas on the other side, there's going to be someone who, like I said, maybe JJ Spaun or Viktor Hovland, someone's going to be very thankful that there is a pause in this action and they get an opportunity to recalibrate and refocus. And who knows, and that's the great thing about this, who knows who that will be. Still not sure exactly when we're going to get back underway. I know they said 45 minutes of at least weather. Just checking this, the broadcast, they're still showing the 08 third round. So it's going to be a little bit of time before we get back going once again. As I mentioned with Jon Rahm, that 3 under, it's finishing with birdie, birdie, birdie. Now the course is going to play different with this rain. It's going to soften up, and we've already seen quite a bit of some unique bounces, especially in the fairways where there isn't a whole lot of rollout. And that 3-wood that Tyrrell Hatton hit in on 4, where he stuck that thing right near the pin. Expect a couple more of those. So I think there's going to be some low numbers out there. And you've got to think, if you can keep it fairway green, whoever is the most precise, I think, ends up winning this thing. They don't have to do anything too spectacular. You just have to play a pretty boring game of just fairway green, 1 or 2 putt, maybe knock it close and get a 1 putt and get out of there. And with, like I said, the course softening up, that's going to benefit somebody out there. It's just a matter of who will it benefit. But Jon Rahm is already in the house at 4 over. So, I mean, technically he's the clubhouse leader, if you will. Some other guys that are in, Xander Schauffele at 6 over. He shot 1 under today. He's T14. Brooks Koepka, he also wrapped up his round with 1 over today at +6. I mean, those guys might be top 10 after this final round concludes, or they could fall out of the top 15. You just don't know how these guys are going to react and how the course will react too. You would think with the weather that with how thick the rough is, that's going to put an even bigger stressor on hitting fairways and greens because it's already thick enough. And when you get that rough that's wet, I mean, it's even harder to hit out of. So there's going to be opportunities out there, but you have to be precise. And you're looking at these final couple of groups and no one's under par. The best rounds out there so far in the last really 20 players, it's even par, which is incredible. And that could do it. But like I said, with Tyrrell Hatton, if he gets around in 70, he's one of those guys at even. That might be enough. And he's playing a couple of groups ahead. And if he can set that benchmark at either 1 over or even or 1 under and make the rest of the guys behind him chase, you know, we've talked about it all week, how there are birdies out there at 17, perhaps an eagle. But on the flip side, there are bogeys, and even a double could happen on 17, and that can completely derail your round. And 16's a hard hole. 18's one of the best finishing holes in championship golf. 15 is the hardest hole on the golf course right now. It's playing at nearly 6 over par. It's only seen 2 birdies and more bogeys than pars. You have 20 pars, 21 bogeys, and 3 doubles or worse on 15. So, I mean, that's telling me that someone, if they can get in early and post a number, you know, it's unfortunate for Jon Rahm that he wasn't able to make a little bit of hay earlier in the week, especially yesterday, that 73. How valuable would a 70 have been for Jon Rahm? That could have put him at 1 over and perhaps really in this championship, or even that 75 he shot in the second round. It's there. It's there for someone to figure it out during this break. And that's such a hard thing to do when you're in that groove, although no one's in a groove. So it really could benefit everybody in the top 10 that's still out on the course. And even some of these guys at T11, although I don't see anybody coming from back there other than maybe Scotty, Tristan Lawrence, he kind of ejected himself early with a bogey and a double. And it's like we were talking about yesterday. Don't really see him being much of a threat. Carlos Ortiz is kind of in that same category, although he's hanging around. But let me know in the chat. We've got some people watching. Who do you guys think is going to come out victorious? And do we see a playoff? That's the other thing too, is with all these guys grouped together, we might end up seeing a playoff out of this. And we might get a Monday finish in regulation anyway, and we might get a Monday playoff on top of it. But everybody is, for the most part, losing strokes in the top 5. You got Tyrrell Hatton. Again, even par is a shot and a half gaining strokes on the field. That's just shooting even. And he's doing it by hitting fairways. That's why I'm really liking what Tyrrell Hatton's doing. I'm liking what Adam Scott is doing. Now, I have kind of talked a little bit bad about Carlos Ortiz, but he's been precise. 7 of 8 greens, 5 of 6 fairways. Tyrrell Hatton, he's hit every single fairway, 6 of 6. He's 7 of 8 for greens in regulation. Adam Scott is 5 of 6 fairways, 5 of 7 greens. That precision is going to win you the championship. What Viktor Hovland's doing, playing as erratic as he is off the tee, I don't think that's not going to get the job done, hitting fairways at 50%. And he was on the range last night trying to figure things out late, and there were videos of him really working on the driver, and he's just a little bit off with it. But again, like I've said, this rain delay can do some spooky things to the field. It can make guys just find something for no reason. They have no idea why. And, a guy like JJ Spaun, I think probably is the happiest guy out of the whole field. Nightmare start, and it was just bad breaks. It's not like Spaun was hitting bad tee shots. It's just or bad second shots. I mean, he just got some pretty brutal breaks, and there's usually someone at the U.S. Open that gets kind of screwed by these bad breaks. Well, JJ Spaun is that guy, but he's trying to overcome it, and I think there's a chance for him to, again, let's say 1 under, like I've been talking about all week. If that is the true winner of the tournament, he only needs to play 3 under for the rest of the day. And I know that seems like a lot, but remember what I said on the back 9. There's 4 holes that are playing under par. That's not including the 12th that's playing a 10th of a stroke over par. And that's a par 5. So it's going to be a heck of a finish, but a very weird way to have a pause on the U.S. Open, and you just don't know how the field's going to react to this pressure. Will it make a guy like Sam Burns and Adam Scott think too much? Or will it have a guy like Tyrrell Hatton? What's the message for him right now? If I'm his caddy, I'm just saying, Hank, just keep doing what you're doing. Put it in the fairway, put it on the green, and he might end up winning this thing, knowing that the 2 guys up in front are really hanging on for dear life, because Sam Burns and Adam Scott could easily be where JJ Spaun is right now, sitting at 4 or 5 over for their round. But they've made a couple of clutch putts, especially the putt that Scott hit on 1 for bogey. Brad Faxon was talking about how that was a big putt that he made that kind of helped maybe jumpstart his round and cancel out, even though it was a bogey and dropped a shot, but it made it feel not as worse. You got to have some of those. And but despite that, Adam Scott's still losing a third of a stroke putting, and around the greens, he's not been well. And I mean, it's crazy. You look at the Data Golf numbers, and there's a lot of gray and dark and light gray, and a lot of guys that are losing strokes in the top 10. It's survival of the fittest right now on this final round. And who's going to come through it all? Will we even get to under par? I mean, there's so many questions that hopefully get answered today. It'd really stink if we weren't able to get a finish today, but I know time is going to be tough out there because it's already 4:40. Let's see what sunset is out in Oakmont. 8:52 Eastern sunset. So right now 4:40. You're looking at 4 hours of daylight remaining, and you're probably still looking at another half hour ish of delay, and that's if it's good. Yeah, it's going to be a tight squeeze. Let's say we do have a playoff. I don't know if we'll get any sort of playoff in, and I'd love to know what the USGA would do tomorrow if they say, we're just going 18 holes, or what the protocol is. But we got to get to that point first. We got to finish this round today first, and that's another question that remains. We might not even get this round in today. We might have to wait until tomorrow. But Sam Burns, Adam Scott, Tyrrell Hatton, Victor Hovland, Carlos Ortiz, JJ Spaun, Robert McIntyre, Jon Rahm, Emiliano Grillo, and Cam Young are the top 10. Like I was saying earlier, Scotty Scheffler has been really good tee to green, really good on approach shots as well, gaining almost 3 shots, strokes gain approach, which is 7th best out of the field. But he's having one of the worst putting days. He's 59th in the field putting today. And that 3-putt on 11, he's going to be kicking himself about. Also on 10 and 9, he had some chances for birdie. It's it's been right there. This is one of those that Scottie Scheffler, he's probably, like I said, he's going to be kicking himself. And this is similar to what happened with Tiger in 07. If you go back and rewatch that final round, there were a lot of opportunities for Tiger to go out there and win it, and just couldn't make the putt when he needed it. And that's kind of been the same thing for Scheffler, although he's a lot further back than Tiger was in 07. The way how Scottie's been striking the ball, yeah, you would think he'd be right in it, but you can't count out Scottie yet with the run that he's been on, but it's all but over for him to win the US Open. Unless this thing is an over par winner. Because, I mean, you have to break it down that way. As it stands, he's 7 shots back, right? But let's say coming out of this weather delay, the top 5 still keep struggling. 4 holes up ahead that are playing under par, plus the par 5 12th that Scottie Scheffler is going to be playing. Well, he's on it right now. He only needs to go 4 under on the next 8 holes, 7 holes. It's possible, right? So if you break it down that way and say if he gets to 1 over, posts a number, makes those leaders think a little bit, now those holes that are playing under par, they start to get a little tighter, and those fairways get a little tighter, and those landing areas on the green get a little tighter, and the pressure just mounts up, and you see like, oh, I have to hit this mark or get better. And that's where you could see guys really faltering. And that's where someone who finished a while ago, or when we get to the end of the round, in that case, it could end up being something like that, where we see a guy that we didn't think had much of a chance. They end up having a big chance, or perhaps end up winning the whole thing. Winning score probabilities, Data Golf has just under 20% chance that 2 under is the winning score, 26% chance that 1 under is the winning score, 22.5% chance that even is the winning score, 11% chance that 1 over is the winning score. So that's what I'm talking about. You're looking at a guy like Robert McIntyre, who's been striking the ball pretty well today, and he was able to pick up, an eagle on 4, and Bobby Mack, he's gaining a stroke, 1.6 strokes gain approach. Again, that kind of ball striking, and plus he's nearly gaining a stroke putting. Look, break it down the same way we did with Scottie. All he needs is 2 under for the final 8 holes. And I say all he needs as if it's a pretty easy task at Oakmont. Nothing comes easy, but all he has to do is birdie half of those holes playing under par, keep riding out pars. That could be enough for a playoff if it does indeed being that 1 over. And when you look at the percent of it being, that's an 11% chance. For a guy that's sitting right now 5 shots out of it, you got to like those. You got to like those percents. You got to like those numbers, even for Scottie Scheffler. So a lot of golf to be had. And I think there's still some names out there that could make a run. And it's all about how do you manage this? How do you manage this delay, and how do you get yourself back into it? For a guy like Scottie and JJ Spaun, who had either bad breaks or, for Scottie, he's hit bad putts. They could completely reset, throw everything out from earlier today, and it's like they're playing a new round. Viktor Hovland, reset with the driver. That's about as hard as it comes, but maybe he's finding something right now, or he just needs to step away for a minute and have himself be completely away from his driver. They've got Dan Hicks and Kevin Kisner back on. It looks like they're just talking about the 3rd round of the 08 US Open. I really wonder how a guy like Tyrrell Hatton will play when this thing resumes, because it seemed like he could cruise around at 1 over. Now it's a matter of where does he go from here? Can he kick it up another gear? Another guy who hasn't really been putting all that well, but striking the ball precise. Accuracy is going to be whoever hits the ball the most accurate is going to win this championship. Whether it's hitting the fairway or not just hitting the green, but knocking it close on the green, giving themselves shorter putts because all these guys are missing putts, and that's nerves. Every single player in the top 5 is losing strokes, putting, and that's nerves. That's number 1 and number 2 signs of nerves are missed putts and missed fairways. And we're seeing it out of, at least certainly out of the missed putts department with these guys. They're doing a pretty good job of keeping it in the fairway. Probability of winning. Sam Burns is at 46% probability of winning according to Data Golf. So, I mean, he's pretty much got, according to them, a 50% chance. Adam Scott, 27.7%. Tyrrell Hatton at 9.4%. Victor Hovland at 8%. Carlos Ortiz at 3.4%. JJ Spawn at 2.4%. And that's really it. They actually have Cam Young at 0.4%. Cam Young got off to a blistering start with a couple of birdies early, but bogeys on 5, 6, and 8 have put him down to 1 over for the day. But again, those guys are coming up to birdieable holes, and that's what it's going to come down to. Who can take advantage of this opportunity? Who can reset? Who can be accurate? Who can be precise? Who has that mental and intestinal fortitude to overcome all these obstacles, all these hurdles that both Oakmont and the weather is throwing at them. And we saw Sam Burns. He must have known that they were going to blow the horn on the 8th tee because he did not want to hit that tee shot. He set it up like he was going to go, and then he didn't. Man, I don't know if I'd want to hit that tee shot. Like, that's the shot he's thinking about right now, him and Adam Scott. That 301-yard par 3. Geez, that's that's a tough shot to be thinking of during this weather delay, how to play it. And the one benefit for them is the greens are soft. So we saw Burns take out driver right before the delay. Well, maybe a high fade, and it will stop. I mean, it certainly is going to be a lot softer conditions, and they showed the pictures of 14. That green looked like a lake was there with the flagstick sticking out of it. There was so much water on it. And if I remember right, 14 is one of those holes that's playing under par. So that, I believe, will just about do it. Impromptu stream during the weather delay. But again, let's go over the leaderboard one last time. Sam Burns, Adam Scott, Tyrrell Hatton, Victor Hovland, Carlos Ortiz, JJ Spawn, that's your top 5. Robert McIntyre, Jon Rahm, whose day is done, Emiliano Grillo, and Cam Young in the top 10. I still have no idea who's going to win this thing, and I still have no idea what the score is. And when I went over those percentage winning score probabilities, Data Golf doesn't seem to have one that really stands out either. It's a lot different than like the cut line that we saw yesterday, or 2 days ago, I should say, where it was pretty certain it would get to 7 over. Today, as I mentioned with those winning scores, nothing is over 26%. So that tells me there's a lot of uncertainty as to how this thing can go. It doesn't look like we'll jump up. It doesn't look like it will fall all that far back. But where will it end up being? And that's going to, depending on if it gets up to 2, that takes out a lot of the field. If it's back to 1 over, there's a lot of guys out on the course that can play the back 9 at Oakmont in 3 or 4 under and can get themselves at that mark. But with how nervy the last 3 pairings look, no one has a stranglehold on this championship. It's wide open, and it's there for the taking. And all 6 guys in that top 5, and even a guy like Robert McIntyre at solo 7th, they all have really good chances to capture the 125th U.S. Open. So that's going to do it for this weather delay stream. I wanted to keep it at a half hour, and we're going to hit that mark right on the screws. So we are going to step out for now and enjoy the rest of the U.S. Open reruns that NBC is going to be doing. I'm not getting into the broadcast. I just won't. We'll just leave it at that. We're going to rewatch the good old days back when the broadcast was good. All right. So we'll be back for a post 4th round stream, whether that's, well, we'll have one tonight, wherever play ends tonight, whether it's at the end of the championship or if there's still more golf to be had, whether it is a playoff or the regulation still hasn't finished. We will have another stream tonight. And then if there's play tomorrow, there will be another stream after things conclude. We might have 3 final round streams. That's just it's unpredictable, man. It's the U.S. Open. You never know what can happen. All right. We will see you later today for another recap stream of the U.S. Open. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching in whatever capacity. And again, if you have any comments or anything you want to get off your chest or anything you want for tonight's live show, toss it in the comment section below. And we will see you later this evening.